We are starting with the Twitter discussion and Neera Tanden, and well, in how far she offended politicians and people in general with her Twitter feeds, and well, as we know, in the past, before she got nominated. She went on her Twitter account and deleted, as it said, about 1,000 tweets, which raises for me personally the question. I'm not the Twitter king at all, but it raises for me the question: who on earth needs to delete 1,000 or more Twitter tweets? Anyway,
It's like
the
deleting
discussion
your
is
whole history, pretty
yes,
much.
kind of,
What's
but
left?
yeah, and this is why in this time I only put her face on the card and did not put in a speech bubble or something like this, because at this moment everything she says, it is well, you can take it seriously because everything she wants to do is get the job. And but let's talk about what's going on in the media. And we are seeing that everyone who is criticizing in the mainstream media Neera Tanden is referring to what she's doing, what she's done on Twitter. And it is not only the mainstream media; some others are also discussing this. And I think I think it's absolutely bogus, and I don't care, if she offended Bernie Sanders in the past. Apparently, she called him a slut, what a Republican guy once said during her hearing. It doesn't matter, and it doesn't matter if she hurt feelings of Republicans, and if she was even it doesn't matter that she was one of the people who forced the Bernie Bros. The bullshit and all those things, because at least this is exactly the position she was in at that time, and she she did it. The question is, it's a dirty job, and someone's got to do it, and she was that someone who did it. And it, as I said, I don't care about what she's done on Twitter, and I think the discussion around it, and don't get me wrong, which is strangely coming mostly from women in this case. It strangely reminds me of what we saw in 2016 when it came about Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders, and everyone who was against Hillary Clinton or was pro Bernie was somehow against women or was a suppressor of women or something of that. It was completely labeled, to be anti-women. And I think this pulls away from the facts which surrounds Neera Tanden, in my opinion, right? Um, but let's have a look first at what what the media says. For example, we have an article here from coming from Huffington Post, and it also goes into the direction, when it says here, this week, Senator Joe Manchin threw the confirmation of Neera Tanden into doubt when he said he would oppose her to lead the Office of Management and Budget, arguing that her history of caustic tweets made her too toxic. Senator Susan Collins similarly said Tanden's tweets make her unqualified for the role. Quote, Neera Tanden has neither the experience nor the temperament to lead this critical agency, Collins said in a statement. Okay, we can discuss this. If someone who is mostly known to be a toxic person in the political environment can lead this office, but to put it into a narration, as the Huffington Post did, that it is denying her the office, is a blow to black people, to the Asian Pacific American caucus. There's someone, a Representative Grace Meng. She said that if Tanden's nomination doesn't go through, it would be a huge blow to the Asian American community. She's also worried that the nominees of color are facing a different level of scrutiny. Um, and she is raising absolutely the wrong questions, in my opinion. And also the fact that she was referring that in this nomination circle, it was more difficult for black people to get the votes. The article contradicts itself when it comes to Lloyd Austin. which is quoted here in this article. Lord Austin, who is black, was also easily confirmed through the Senate with a 93-2 vote. Uh, okay, maybe they missed it. I don't know. But he's a black male. Maybe they're referring this because he's male in the end. But uh, it is absolutely it's going much more crazy in the defense of Neera Tanden. Here, as next, I'd like to show you slide 13. We have an article coming from Politico, and they're coming up with Neera Tanden got Twitter right, and that was a problem. Um, and there it comes. They are uh, they are interviewing a psychiatrist, David Greenfield, and he's defending here, and it is really a joke, you know. And this is one of the reasons why we are doing the show. He says, when you put out a tweet anticipating a like or a share, your brain gets a hit of a pleasure neurochemical. At the same time, the brain cuts off its pathways to the frontal cortex, the area that governs judgment. Really? Really? Come on. She had to delete not two, three, or four or five tweets where where she did not find the right tone. She had to delete more than thousands. But apart from this, it doesn't matter, you know. If you're going for such an office, you should be qualified, and you should be qualified to do this. And I think, and here we're coming to another point, to her past, where she was hurtful against progressive, etc. As I said, you know, it doesn't matter when it comes to the vote on her, but it has a strange taste, in my opinion, as well. Um, you can have her you can have your how can I say it? You can have your differences with her points of view, um, but you should articulate them, and you should not go only by her Twitter tweets and how mean she is. And it is it is pretty remarkably that no one, or only the progressive media, seems to see what's going on. What is the real striking argument why this person is not qualified for the office? And this goes back to 2011, and where she got into an email exchange with Peter Jewell, Benjamin Armbruster, and NSIP Corps, and it goes about Libya and the oil. And we got the statement here, and I'm pretty sure you all know this, but I would like to read it out, where what she's addressing. And she says, "We have a giant deficit. They have a lot of oil. Most Americans would choose not to engage in the world because of that deficit. If we want to continue to engage in the world, gestures like having oil-rich countries partially pay us back doesn't seem crazy to me. Do we prefer to cut Head Start or WIC or Medicaid because we live in a deficit politics, and that's what's happening and will be happening even more?" And this, exactly this, is, in my opinion, the striking argument why Neera Tanden is not qualified for the office. Because what she's doing here is not a petitesse. It is nothing. It is not a small thing. She is clearly suggesting a war crime, and I think this is the only really striking reason why she's not qualified, because this says a lot about her mindset. And this is no tweet. This is an email shared only between those as you can see there. This is not about that she's out of control because her frontal cortex was hit by neurochemicals or stuff. No, this is exactly the mindset this woman has, at least when it comes to foreign policy, right? And this is the point which disqualifies her. And it's pretty astounding, or it is not astounding. It is strange, and it is like coming from an alternative alternate universe, if you want so. If you hear the head, the speaker of the Justice Democrat in an interview defending Neera Tanden and not coming to this point. And if you could run this, please, because I'm still I don't still get it. And maybe meanwhile we're watching this audio audience has an idea what's going on with Justice Democrats. Cenk Uygur. I saw the reaction of Karl Kolinsky to this, and he also could not understand what is going on with Justice Democrats. And just roll it, please, Amos.
Here's some breaking news for you now. Democratic Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia just announced that he will vote against President Biden's pick to lead the Office of Management and Budget, Neera Tanden, putting her nomination in jeopardy. Manchin saying in a statement, in part, quote, "I have carefully reviewed Neera Tanden's public statements and tweets that were personally directed towards my colleagues on both sides of the aisle, from Senator Bernie Sanders to Senator Mitch McConnell and others. I believe her overtly partisan statements will have a toxic and detrimental impact on the important working relationship between members of Congress and the next director of the Office of Management and Budget." Let's bring in our panel. Alexandra Rojas, this would be Biden's first defeat, and obviously a defeat for Neera Tanden personally because of a bunch of tweets she's done that were rather harsh.
Yeah, and I mean, there's public record of those tweets, but the reality is I think that Joe Manchin is the one being divisive right now. We are in the middle of a public pandemic. Joe Biden was just elected by a huge mandate by the American people. We have to deliver as Democrats, and we need people in positions of power who are ready and prepared to go big in this moment and not leave anyone behind. The mentality has got to be of the Democratic Party especially, but any elected official, that we have to move quickly to save as many lives as possible. And I would also point out that he had no problem voting to confirm other appointments of clearly partisan members when it was the previous Republican administration. There should be no, I think, opposition to some, folks that are being proposed by the Biden administration who have, clearly are ready to do the work and are ready to get the job done, and they feel are the best prepared to do it.
To get the job done. Well, it leaves me. I don't know. I listened it many times in the past week, and I still don't get it. It is establishment blah blah, and in this and well, as the head of the Justice Democrats, being invited to this interview, right? I would definitely address where the $2,000 checks are. This would be the first thing I would implement in it. But she is, I know this narrative, and we all know this narrative from 2016, We got to gather behind Hillary, we got to do this and that, and bullshit, and Justice Democrats, right? And I know that when they started, we're all thrilled, and we're all happy that all this happened, that this was possible, right? And we see how it's blown in the wind, and it seems everyone is going establishment right now, more or less. And Amos, what's your take? What do you think about it? What is your take on Neera Tanden?
Yeah, well, of course, the fact that she's blabbed her mouth on and attacked it's not about the tweets, in my opinion. It's about the enormous hatred that she has towards progressives and Sanders in particular that caused those tweets. I mean, you could criticize and be an attack dog without resorting to the kind of tweets that she had, and I'm not surprised that Twitter has seen her as incitive or inappropriate. But again, it's more about her positions, and you're right. She's not based on what you referred to earlier, her position that matched Trump's position about how we should just use oil revenues for our advantage. Is basically condemning her in this position. I think that the only explanation I can have for why Justice Democrats are stepping to her defense is that they're like trying to use it as an attack vehicle to attack Manchin and Cinema and Republicans. I don't think it's very constructive. I think they should just vote her off, and I don't at this point. I think her chances are significantly diminished. There's this civility caucus that's using the civility arguments against her, but I think on the whole, I don't think she has the votes. So we'll see what happens. I sure hope that she won't be voted in, and they seek somebody more representative of a wider segment of the party.
I mean, even the fact that she was even nominated, it was also a symbolic move, if you ask me. It was a direct slap in the face of the real progressives, and this is another thing we are observing for quite a time, at least, that that you find establishment Democrats showing up in the disguise to be progressives, and they're mudding the waters more and more what progressive seems to be. You can see the complete irritation on the Republican side, that they are calling the stupidest figures, to be a radical left, and it is absolutely crazy. And well, it's we gotta be we got to be very careful, and we should not follow any narrative because it comes from certain sides. Even more as we more and more see how compromised certain sides are, and here I'm referring to the Justice Democrats, who, in my opinion, lost all credibility. At least with this appearance of Alexandra Rojas.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
so far Bernie's stayed out of it. I think it's smart. He's letting others take the spear, the head of the spear, I think otherwise it would appear that he's being that he's being petty, but I don't think he's going to vote for her. I hope he doesn't.
But on the other hand, does it matter? Does it matter?
Yeah.
I think the time of Bernie Sanders, due to his age, is limited, right? And he also could consider maybe this is his last term as a senator. That he could, just like a president, he has no he has no ropes which bind him anymore, right? So maybe you could also do it differently by stating, I brought up the argument that it's not about the mean, so-called mean tweets. I think this is all bullshit in the narrative, but the striking argument was her political attitude to a certain question, and coming up with a crime, to get profit out of the situation. I think with this argument, what should he risk? I think he could have easily put this argument forward and say, okay, this is my reason why I cannot vote for her. Bam. And I think staying silent is not always the best, but at least as we learned a couple of days, he prevented another nominee's pick of Biden. I forgot his name, and there he also had his clear reasons to deny it. And I think the reasons to deny the yes vote for Neera Tanden are also clear. But this is my take. This is my opinion.
Hmm.